Everybody. Today I'm going to be taking you through the process of creating purchase orders using the Paddock mobile app. So I'm going to be starting here on the home page of the mobile app, and I'm going to touch on Soilmate Mobile. That's just going to do a quick sync just to make sure that all of the information that I've entered into Soilmate on my computer is available to me on the app. And once the sync is complete, I will end up here on the draft orders page of Soilmate Mobile. So to create a new draft order, I just need to touch the add button in the top right. And from here, you'll see there's automatically a draft purchase order number entered. I can leave that there for now, or if I've got my purchase order number ready to go, I can touch in that box and then enter my purchase order number. From there, I need to select the sample date or leave it as today if I'm out in the field logging the samples as I go. The laboratory, I'll touch in the lab box to select the laboratory that I'm going to be sending my samples to. And from here, I can start adding my barcodes. So to do that, I'm going to touch in the box that says all barcodes, which will take me through to this barcode list page. And to add a new barcode, I'm going to touch the add button again in the top right. There are two different ways that I can add in a barcode number. I can either touch in the barcode box here and type in the number of my barcode from my sample bag, or we've also got a barcode scanner available here. So if you touch on that barcode scanner, it will open up your camera and allow you to scan the barcode on your sample bag and automatically add the barcode number for you. The date again is going to remain the same. So the next thing I'm going to do is choose a product by touching in the product box. I'm going to be logging both a surface sample and a deep sample today. So I'm going to start with my surface sample. It's automatically given me the depths of 0 to 30 here, but I think I'm going to log a 0 to 10 sample to begin with. So I'm just touching the minus sign to adjust those depths. Next, I want to choose my trading name, farm, and paddock. So I'm going to touch in that box that says trading name, farm, and paddock. And you should have all of your trading names available that you've entered into Soilmate on your computer here. And if the trading name that you need is not here, you can add a new one by going to trading names down the bottom. And again, touching the add symbol in the top right. And you can enter in your new trading name from there and subsequently your farm and paddocks as you need. I'm going to use one today that I've already got, so I'm going to cancel on that and then go back to draft orders down the bottom. Just select my trading name, farm and paddock. From there, I also want to choose my evaluation table in my purchase order so that when I get the results emailed back to me, it will have the status report attached with the evaluation that I've chosen. So I'm going to touch in the evaluation box here and scroll down to find an evaluation table that suits my needs at the moment. And that's all that I need to enter for that barcode. So once I'm finished with all of those details, I'm going to touch save in the top right. And you'll see that that barcode has been successfully added. Next, I'm going to add my deep sample barcode. So again, I'm going to touch the add button in the top right. I'm going to enter in a barcode number. Choose a different product. And then I want to turn off the slider for surface to indicate that this is a sample at depth. And then I'm going to select the surface barcode that this sample correlates to. So if I touch in that select surface barcode box, you can see that it's giving me the option of associating this deep sample with that surface sample I've already created in the purchase order. And once I've done that, it's already telling me that I need to start at a depth of 10 centimeters, and I might go from maybe 10 to 30 for this one. The trading name, farm, and paddock are going to remain the same because this is for the same soil test point. And I'm also going to leave the evaluation table the same. So from there, I'm going to touch save again. And now I've got both of my barcodes added and I'm ready to go back to review the whole purchase order. So I'm going to touch the back symbol in the top left. You can see now that I've got everything that I need here in terms of the details selected. So from here, I can either save my purchase order by touching save in the top right, And then if I need to go back to the office to finish that off, I can take that through to a complete purchase order once I'm ready. Or if I am ready to send off the sample order form now, I can do that from going back in here and going through to complete purchase order. That's going to submit it by touching OK. Again, it's just going to sync the app to make sure that all of the details end up where they need to. And once that sync is complete, I'll now be able to see this sample order over here by touching sample orders down the bottom. So this is the list of completed sample orders. The one that I've just created is up the top, so I'm going to touch that to open. And then to view the SOF, I'm just going to touch the PDF icon in the top right and then touch sample order form. And here's my sample order form. It displays the same way that it displays in SoilMate on your computer. And I can send it off here in the top right with the send icon. I can either email that to myself to print off later or to someone else, or I can print it directly from my iPad if I've got those settings set up. So that's the process for logging your sample orders on the mobile app. If you've got any questions or you need any help with that, feel free to give us a call on the help desk. Otherwise, I'm going to hand over back to Chris.
Excellent. All righty. So I'm just going to pick up the ball from there. So the basis is that just get this PowerPoint moving. So there's obviously a fairly simple process to follow there, but the most simple of those is that if we were collecting plant tissue samples, for example, just obviously heading out into the paddock, selecting the sites that we wish to sample from, and completing that first process. So that's just picking up the point where Mel left off. So from there, as Mel spoke about, the context is then obviously getting off to the lab. So you've got a couple of options there. As far as electronic ordering is concerned, then we've just got APAL Labs being able to accept electronic ordering. So we're testing that process as we speak. Would think that we'll have that properly operational by the end of this month, to where if you're processing that electronically, no further action required, which is a really good initiative on their part and something we're really looking forward to. The other side of that is for printed orders. If it's going off to another lab, then of course you need to print the sample order form such that it can go off with the samples to the labs, so that when it turns up, they can identify where it's come from. So again, a movement there, and that's a good initiative. Moving on from there, so we've collected the samples, sent them off to the labs. The next step in the process or the workflow is obviously to receive the samples back. And this is where we're really, I guess, wanting to make things simpler, faster and easier than they previously were. And to that extent, oftentimes, particularly when there's a need, particularly with plant tissue sample, to get the results back, interpret them, provide a recommendation or some sort of advice to the grower. So on the right-hand side there, you can see the next step as far as the mobile application is concerned, is that Mel didn't show it in her order that she created, but there was a section there, I'll just go back a step, to be able to choose the evaluation table. So you can see there in the middle one, I've selected that for the APAL lab and it's a pass-through evaluation. So by doing that, and it's an important step, when the results come back from the lab and we process them, we obviously send you an email with the results. But in that instance, if you've created or selected the evaluation, it'll automatically create that detailed status. So the basic detailed status being crop type by variety, by district, by target yield. So we've modified the app in the mobile sense to where once you've got those results, you can see that status report. You can actually then add the details of if you like, a simple recommendation right there in the status report and send it straight through from within the mobile app wherever you are. So that, the basis around product and rate particularly, but the notion around craft. So as we speak, that could be an and/or, but that's obviously a simple, fast, easy way to get a result back from the lab, be able to look at what product you're going to recommend and rate, be able to add that to the interpreted status and get it straight through to the grower double quick time. Now, that might be and/or, that might be in context, if you like, of also creating that as a crop nutrition rec in the mobile app to actually be able to send through that additional detail. And I guess the other notion of is if you are creating crop nutrition rec on that side, you would probably be doing that for the purpose of the grower is then using the Paddock book application, the operator's app, such that they can pick up those recs directly from within the app and apply them. So moving on from there, we then wanted to just step back and I guess just take a quick look at a more end-to-end process, if you like. So that might start, for example, with the notion of doing some assessment or analysis as far as in-crop NDVI is concerned. And within Opterra, there's obviously an ability to do that with our integration with data farming. So you can see there on the left-hand side, you're just putting through a date selection, looking at those cloud masks to make sure that the imagery that you're going to get is relevant to use. 4th of June was 0% cloud cover, so that would be an obvious one there. From that, within Opterra, there's a new ability now to be able to create purchase orders directly from the Paddock itself by, in this instance, interpreting the NDVI image and determining where you may wish to create sample test sites. And the notion then of once that's done and created, you can see again there, we're selecting the lab, we're selecting the product and the evaluation from the beginning remotely or on site if we're doing this from iPad. So that would then appear under the basis as a draft order, as a draft sample order, so we can go out into the paddock and actually do that collection. Just as Mel showed before of being able to create that draft order in the field. So moving that along, what we're actually moving to next is that notion of creating the crop nutrition rec directly from the mobile app, so it's fully integrated to plans and actuals, and of course attaching the interpreted status to that. So again, that's work that we have in QA, and we'll be rolling that out in the coming weeks. So moving that step along, if then we then are talking about, say, a variable rate nitrogen application, the other project that we're currently working on is that next stage of integration with data farming. So if we're doing that today, we would go across to the data farming site, select imagery for a particular date range and I guess assess, and then from that order a rapid zone or a VRT rapid zone map from that. So in that sense, the product or the service they currently offer will automatically zone that to 3 zones. The project that we're working on integrating that across to Opterra gives you the option for either 3 or 5 zones. And from there, it's a matter of just applying the application rates in, and that will then provide you with the shapefile that is compatible with most controllers. So that's, again, this notion of simplifying the basis going through to variable rate to make that faster, simpler than it has been previously. So taking that a step further, once those that integration work is complete and tested, then we're able to grab those test results from the lab that we had, turn that or effectively automate the process of turning that into a crop nutrition recommendation, attaching both the variable rate shapefile to go to the controller or the RX file and the interpreted status to be able to determine through there. So that's the short-term basis. I guess in reality, what Mel showed you in terms of the ability to capture that on the mobile app, that's the here and now. We'll be signing this work off over the next 30 to 60 days, really in preparation for cotton and northern zone sugarcane. The other side of that, of course, is as we're collecting or capturing these results, of course, that's all stored back against the farm and paddock in Opterra. So there's some new stuff that's come online now in terms of the ability to be able to see at a glance trend analysis around NPKs, organic carbon, pH, and with obviously the sufficiency ratios and so on. And as well as, of course, in that you can see that we're bringing by definition through all of the detail, all the soil test histories. So they're accessible. I guess if you're out in the field and you wanted to drill back down into the detail of previous tests, then that's available. So that's really the gist of the stuff we're working on in the context of the short term. If you were or are a SoilMate user that hasn't yet set up Opterra, you certainly from SoilMate have access to Opterra to be able to do these new things, but there's a process where you would need to import your historical sort test results from SortMate across into Advisor. Now that can be an automated process. Certainly if you've been using SortMate only and don't have planning in Advisor already, if you happen to have information on both, it's just a matter of going in and just making sure that the paddock naming, the paddocks match up to each other as far as the naming is concerned. So that's the gist of all of that. And of course, the other side is that all ties back to the basis of the planning, back to the planning engine. So such that if there was crop nutrition events that had been included in the plan, then the notion is they're ready to go in terms of just converting or sending those through to the grower as nutrition recs and being able to attach the soil test results to it. So that's the bit I just wanted to go over quickly. So just to reiterate what Mel was talking about, the stuff that she showed, we can do this afternoon. The stuff I'm just stepping through now, the engineering work is complete, but we need to get through that through QA. So that'll come online over the next 30 to 60 days. Alrighty, so pretty much we're a few minutes over, so we won't keep that going for too much longer. I just will get back to the chat side. Mel, can you see if there's any questions here in the chat room?
No questions so far.
Okay, so look, as always, thank you very much for sharing your valuable time with us. We've recorded that, so once we tidy that up a little, we'll publish that in next week's news update. So if you're interested in going back and referencing any part of it or sharing it with others, please feel very free to do so. Thank you very much, everybody, and we'll call that a wrap.
Thanks, everyone.